All right, we're here with Sean and Mark
Yes.
from
Van
Lingen
Group.
Towing.
We're here in Torrance, California. We're a third generation family-owned towing company. Been around for almost 75 years next year.
I noticed we got these containers back here, so I wanted to pick your brain about that. How you guys end up with them?
Sure, go ahead, Mark.
So most of them are impounds. Most of them are from a local area around the ports. They've been sitting here for 4 to 5 months. Basically, we're just waiting for them to go on lien. Obviously, it's a huge storage problem. Yes, we're a storage yard, but it comes to that fact where do we need the storage space or do we need the money-making part of it? So there's kind of something in between there, right?
Yeah, and it's tough for us to notify people. So, a couple of these are owned by a local company, but their headquarters, for example, is in Arizona. So we'll send a legal lien notice out to the company in Arizona, and it doesn't get to the right person's hand.
Right,
So we're doing
right.
our due diligence and our legal notifications, but sometimes it doesn't get to the right person, and then last minute, come up for sale, they'll notice it, and boom, they'll come and pick it up.
Yeah.
I think some of these got here because there was a problem at the port with the port taking back empty containers. For a while, they weren't taking empties back, and so people were just dumping them on the street. They had no option. They had to go out and they had to feed their families and make money too. So, you kind of feel bad to an extent, but at the same time, can't park it on the street because it could cause traffic hazards and traffic accidents and all that good stuff. So, we're here doing our jobs, but.
How do you feel that, honestly, like some truckers get upset over this?
The way I feel about it is these guys have a job to do. They're out here to make money. I think a lot of it is they're under so many regulations and rules that they have nowhere to park these things. They have to find somewhere to park them in order to use them again. We just don't have enough storage on the streets. There's not enough parking, legal parking on the streets. So I think neighborhood residents are calling local law enforcement that we're contracted with, call us. It's just a constant cycle, right?
It got to a city council level at one point.
Got to a city council level,
the
yes.
police officers were kind of just, okay, we'll tow them, but, we don't want to take, food from somebody's table, right? And so, but then it got to a city council level, and city council said, can't have this stuff on the street, so they were basically ordered to tow everything. So, a lot of the truckers are stuck between, a rock and a hard place because what are they supposed to do? They can't take it back to the port. They won't accept them. They can't
park them on the street.
They can't park them on the street.
Right.
What do they do? So they're just doing their
or they're going to pay whatever profit they've made on that day to find somewhere to store it, right? Mm-hmm. So now you're just working for rent, right? What happened to the American dream of hopefully making some profit, going home, being able to feed your family, doing all this stuff? But now there's so many. To me, it's rules, regulations. They have to follow everything, and it's.
By the time you
it's
guys
almost
have
too
your
much.
hands on it, it's already been decided upon, right?
Absolutely.
So, unfortunately, you guys get the heat most of the time because
we're the bad guys.
So who
we're
are
always the bad guys.
To complain to in regards to how this is being handled?
I think just like anything else. The ports.
By choice. It's like overflow, right? You saw this spike in available empties that nobody wanted to return.
Yes.
Or accept. So.
Yeah, it's where's that happy middle ground? I don't know that we've found that yet.
What's the story with these?
These were all just parked on the street.
On a non-truck route.
Yeah, non-truck
residential
route on
area.
the street, and the police department had ordered us to impound them. So we tow them here, we store them. These have been here for at least 2 months.
At minimum.
Minimum 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
So these have been here for a little while.
They're nice and secure though. They got their locks on.
Yeah. And we had probably 6 more that were loaded.
Yeah.
And and all the loaded ones have been picked up. Obviously, that's where the money is, right?
Yeah.
These are all empty.
This kind of shows it's been in the street for a while.
Yes.
That's one indicator.
A little bit of the graffiti,
sure.
Yes.
So you said these 3 are empty.
I believe so. Let's look at the back.
All of the ones we have now, all the containers are empty.
This one does have a lock, but are you sure it's empty?
As far as I know, yes.
So that's not a customs lock, though.
No,
that's just somebody's lock.
Yeah.
It may not be empty.
Hit the side of it. Is it empty?
It's empty.
Yeah.
I mean, we could open it.
Huh, it's empty.
I think the lock is not
no,
on.
that's it.
So sometimes they sound hollow, and I've been misled to think they're empty, and they're not.
Mark, there's two locks.
The lock is actually
There's another
right
lock
in
here.
the center.
But this
True, yes.
It'll still open.
It'll
if
still
that's
open,
locked.
yeah.
This side will open. Let's find out. It is.
Here, I got this side. I got this side.
Is it empty?
Got that side.
There's something heavy.
Empty.
Empty.
Yeah. All the loadeds got picked up.
So if this was a load, what happens in a lien sale, and at what point do these become available?
Technically, whatever's in it, if it goes to lien sale and we've done all of our due diligence, we've sent out all the correct paperwork and everything, which we do on every lien sale, technically whoever buys it's theirs.
Then they
If it was
open
full
up
of TVs, if it was full of...
we can't open it at time of lien sale. So like say this one was locked like this
Oh.
with, let's say it had the what do you call it? The custom
port
seal
seal,
on
yeah.
it, and it's about to go for sale. We wouldn't open it. We would just say, it is what it is. You know, like when it's
Kind of like
cars.
a storage, right? You buy a storage with whatever's in it.
Yeah.
Okay. The way it came in, it has to leave that
Correct.
same way.
Yeah. So
Yes.
like we have like 50 cars for auction today, just for example, and whatever's inside those cars goes with it. And some people will look inside the car and see a nice stereo system or a TV in the back, and they'll say, "Well, a car's worth $800, but TV's worth $300," and so
Right.
you know it increases people's bids. But if this was sealed, we would not be able to open it before sale. We would just have to leave it the way we found it, basically.
If this, how far along is this from being up for sale?
Close.
So
All of these.
the long lien process right now through DMV is very slow. Typically, long lien's 4 months.
Yeah, so you have two things. You have a short lien and you have a long lien. A short lien is any vehicle or vessel valued under $4,000. A long lien is over $4,000. So a short lien is 60 days, a long lien's 120 days. Right now, because of DMV's slowdown, we're waiting sometimes 6-7 months to sell long lien stuff. DMV's still backed up from the pandemic, so I don't know if they'll ever
I think it's
get
going to
back
be
to normal.
I think everything is suffering from it,
Yeah.
and it's going to just continue. So these basically all came in within a week's period.
Correct. Yeah.
Most of them in one day.
And we had what 3 or 4 rounds of a bunch at
Yes.
once. They would get picked up, but then these ones kind of just stayed here. We couldn't figure out 100%
And we did kind
why.
of figure that this was a cheaper storage rate than trying to find something on the street. And we kind of figured when it came close to lien sale, maybe they would come pick them up. And look what's happening.
Right.
Can you provide an estimated amount of how much someone might pick these up for?
So roughly $70 a day is what is the storage rate that we get, plus a few $100s for the tow. So if it sits here for several months, I mean, 70 times
The one that left this morning
30 is 7
had
grand.
been here, what, 4.5 months?
Right.
It went for,
7
little-
grand. Yeah, 7 grand they paid to pick it up.
yeah.
This scenario sounds complicated because if it's a vehicle, you find the rightful owner, they
Right.
pay or what. Now the steamship line, the chassis,
Yep.
and there's a lot of things that go into play here. So
And the
Right.
and the
has
big
this been a headache?
Yeah, the biggest problem is it's corporate, right? So it's not just a Honda Civic and I'm the owner and I get a notice and I'm the only person that owns that car. You have a chassis owner, then you have a container owner, right? So they're two different owners. So we have to send notices to each person. But this chassis has a Tennessee plate, for example. Maybe there's a subdivision or a sub yard here in Carson or Wilmington, but the notices get sent to Tennessee because that's where it's legally registered. And somebody in Tennessee gets a notice and says, "What is this? I don't really care," and throws it away. So then the yard here locally isn't notified that this container is now impounded. So it's tough because we do our due diligence and we do our legal notifications, but sometimes it doesn't get in the right hands.
Yeah, corporate, right? Too many people are getting mail
Yeah,
and not the right person is opening it,
The gentleman that came in today said that he didn't know stuff was here. He's located in Carson. And the sheriff's department actually called that company when we impounded 2 of these. And he said nobody ever told him. So,
Yeah.
there's a lack of communication on the company's part as well, not just our part, but the whoever owns it, there's a lack of communication there as well.
Guys, I think I know why this was towed.
Mud flap damage. That's right. It's always that wire.
And come on, follow me. I think I know why this was towed. Oh yeah.
Oh, look at that one, Sean. Sitting on top.
I didn't notice that.
Are you just now noticing this, Sean?
Yes.
How did you not end up on the page with this mistake?
The top handler missed.
Okay, oh, here we go. Is this one, am I able to record this?
Yep. That's actually
What happened here?
that's an accident that just happened in the West Los Angeles area. The only thing we know is a vehicle crashed into this and caused this to go off the roadway over a guardrail. Marc actually went out on the recovery of this. He knows a little better than I do. But basically, we lifted it up and towed it here.
It's an empty trailer. We actually lifted the whole thing up and over. It was trapped between a K-rail and the side of the mountain.
Wow.
And it was, if you were to see the area, it was pretty incredible. It was like somebody just
I don't know
picked
if
it
you
up and
could
put
see
it
this
there.
on your camera, but that's
Let's see.
kind of the accident where the
There we go. Wow. Was the driver okay?
think
Yes,
so, yeah.
driver was okay.
But they were not at fault in the accident. A car hit them and caused them to lose control and go over the side of the freeway. Which we
Why
see.
is it still here though?
They're supposed to pick it up. The
Insurance,
Yeah, the
waiting.
company has to come pick up the trailer. I mean, the tractor's pretty messed up, not drivable.
I know you guys are busy, so I have one more question.
Sure.
How do you feel about all these rollovers? And can you please let us know what you told me earlier, that you are aware it's not the driver's fault in most cases?
Yeah, I agree. You know, speed does play a factor in some of the rollover accidents, but a lot of times what we see is load shifts. So
Or improper loading.
yeah. So you take your
Directly
empty
from the
chassis,
source.
you take your empty chassis and your tractor down to the port. You pick up a container. That container's sealed, and when it was loaded in Germany and China and Japan, wherever it was loaded, they loaded it, and then it came over here on a cargo ship, and the load shifted to one side. Put it down on your chassis. The first turn you take, you flip over. We notice, we'll upright them, we'll open it, and the load will be 80% of the container, and it was stacked in the middle. Now it's all to the driver's side. So what happened is the first turn, they go, there's no load securement, load goes to one side. I mean, you're going 10 miles an hour, you're still going to flip over. Speed
like-
doesn't play a factor in that case.
And I think, like you said earlier, there needs to be some kind of a standard of how these things are loaded, some kind of accountability, right? That when I pick this up on my chassis, on my truck, that I'm going to be okay to go down the street at normal driving, right? Yes, if I speed and I take corners too fast, of course, I have to suffer the consequences. But if I'm a law-abiding citizen and I'm going down the street and this thing is improperly loaded, why is that my fault now? Because who's going to take that blame? Is the driver every time.
Yeah.
The driver was driving too fast. He wasn't paying attention. He was on his phone. There's so many reasons why everybody wants to blame the driver of the truck and not that it was loaded improperly,
And think about this.
is the case a lot of times.
Containers are the only transportation entity that you don't know what you're hauling realistically.
Yeah,
You're
absolutely.
You're doing a dry van, a reefer load, a box truck, anything else. You know exactly what's in your truck, and you make sure that it's secure before you drive. That's your job. Why is it different?
Why is it
in
different?
the
Right.
container world?
Right. Here, pick up this mystery load. Not going to tell you how it was loaded or what's in it. We'll give you a rough estimate of how much it weighs or if it's hazardous, right? Other than that, you're on your own.
In the event that it's proven that, because you guys want to remove it from the accident site in a safe manner, right?
Sure.
So you guys get to break the seal, and then you confirm that it was unloaded, that it was loaded improperly.
Yes.
Would that be a good means to get that driver in the clear? Because these guys are impacted for years after
Oh,
this.
100%. Yeah,
Absolutely.
it goes against their driver.
But just like everything in this world right now, right? You got to start this process of somebody has to be responsible for how it was loaded, right? So say you were the driver.
Yeah.
You have a Class A license. Now you have points on your license because you have a at-fault accident, right? Okay, what kind of battle do you have to go through to get that off your record? There's probably not enough fight in you to get those points off your record, even if you can. You know, it's all, I'm sure these guys are going, I don't have the money.
Right, it's not my fault either.
I made a couple $100 on this load today. that I waited in line for 8 hours to do one, and now you want me to spend money to go battle something that wasn't my fault? It seems rough.
Yeah. I don't know that there'll ever be a fix, but you know, the common sense in me just says you need to see what's inside of it before you transport it.
Or why aren't the people at the ports or who are loading these things, why isn't there a standard?
Well, because
I mean, honestly, why isn't
it's
there?
a different country most of the time. So, you know, there's not a lot of standards in several countries. So they don't care. They just put, you know, we've seen a small 20-foot container weigh 55, 60,000 pounds, no problem. And it's just, they
and does
pack
the
it.
driver know this?
No.
No, there's 30,000 in it.
Right.
Are you sure? Because when we lifted it, it sure seemed like a lot more. Well, that's what they told me.
Yeah, because we're kind
Too
of
many-
like seeing like not the circus, but I want to say like the laughing stock. When we're
Sure.
rolled over, it's like, oh, those dirty container haulers, those stupid container haulers, or they drive like, you know, psychos.
They're always blamed.
But they don't know this issue
Yes,
Right.
that needs to be discussed. So
I agree.
thank you guys
100%.
for bringing that to
You're
light.
very
and
welcome.
Kind of sharing your perspective on it.
And you know, maybe if more people spoke out about this, like the drivers who have been involved this, who have been impacted, their license, their way of life, their family at home, their kids, their wives, that all goes, it kind of snowballs downhill, right? This driver rolls his truck. Well, now this family's in, maybe they're not eating this week. Maybe they're, you know, can't pay rent. There's so many things that just snowballs down that chain that, you know, to me, it's
sad.
I don't think enough people are talking about it.
How many rollovers do you encounter on a monthly basis?
Depends.
Yeah.
Depends how many boats come in. So like when all those boats were backed up for a while, we didn't get much. And then right at the start of COVID was probably our busiest time ever because there was nobody on the streets. Everyone was scared. Everyone was staying home, but the truckers still had to drive. Right. That's when speed played a factor. So you know it really depends. You know, some weeks there could be 2 or 3. Some weeks there could be 0. It really just depends. Marc's got like 1 minute left, just FYI.
All right. Because it is auction day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Every Wednesday, 10
Every
o'clock.
Wednesday.
Let's end it with that story about that chassis that I posted up. The power of the internet.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Immediately. So
Immediately.
I posted it on social media, tagged you, you shared it. Within 45 minutes, the owner was here to get it. You know, it's like
And 6 others.
We have to go through this long, lengthy process to notify the correct person, and then one social media post in 30 minutes, boom, gets a thing picked up. It's like, what does this world come to?
I think we might need to look at the way we're doing things a little different sometimes. You know, really.
Yeah, not only the legal way, but the common sense way.
Absolutely. Of course, we got to be
Modern way.
legal.
Yeah, modern way. There you go.
The modern legal way. There you go.
Y'all gotta become influencers now. Hey, thank you guys so much for your time.
Thank you,
I
sir.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
See you guys.
All right.
All right.
See ya.